This episode of the Long Run Podcast is sponsored by Skechers. How is everyone doing? Wait a sec. I'm on tech and I've already mucked it up. Hang on, Wilco. Over to you.
Can I go now? Are you ready?
Yeah, go.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the award-winning Long Run Show, live stream and podcast brought to you by the 40 Runs running community and our sponsors, Skechers. Check out all their great deals on shoes and gear at skechers.co.uk. Tonight, we are talking about how to fit running around your busy, hectic schedule. I'm Ian Wilkerson. I'm joined by Chris Ford, Jatila Blake, and Hayden Harbord. We've had a busy week. We've got a busy weekend. There's loads to get through. How are we doing then, folks? Everything good?
Yeah, but I'm on tech, so I'm just already making mistakes here.
Okay, so shall we just ignore you for the rest of the night then, and we'll just crack on
for the rest of the evening. This is Toby's fault. I'm going to let everyone into a little secret, right? And he's going to shoot me for this. And then say hello to everyone else. He's been off for 2 weeks, right? Shall I tell you what he's been doing for 2 weeks? Actually, let's go around the room. Wilco, what do you think Toby's been doing for 2 weeks?
Eating.
Jatila, what do you think Toby's been doing for 2 weeks?
Not running.
Hayden, what do you think Toby's been doing for 2 weeks?
I spent a few days with him in Tokyo, and I know what he gets up to, so I'd rather not say.
You've got to bear in mind that it's only 7 o'clock, then we're going
exactly.
live.
So I think I'll keep quiet.
If you take all three of those, you're about where you are. He's done stuff that we can't talk about. He's eaten too much what we can't talk about. And as Jatila said, he's done zero running. But the good news is, for all you Speed Goat fans, he's at the Hackney Half at the weekend. And if you want to see a man ruined, right, from about mile 3, just find him. It's going to be awesome. Anyway, carry on. I'm going to start mucking about with some tech. Talk to the other guys for 2 seconds.
Well, Chris has just said it's happening. Jatila, this is the first time we've been on together.
I know. I was literally going to say that before we came on. I've been on a handful of times now. This is the first time we've been on together. And I mean, I love it. I'm excited. Yeah.
Oh, well, don't you? I usually say that the pessimist is never disappointed. So
let's not
I hope I live up to expectation.
But I'm good.
It's lovely to meet you and have a chat.
At long last. Yeah. I'm good. It's Friday. It's been a great week. The weather seems to be perking up. I've literally been stalking my weather app ahead of the weekend and also next week. And I feel like we're really getting into the summer vibes, So all things are good. Sort of looking forward to the weekend. A couple shakeout runs that are going off sort of tomorrow, and also then Hackney Half on Sunday. And I even brought it to the show because it's been about 3 weeks now that we've been waiting. My medal from Boston has finally arrived.
Oh,
finally!
This has been a Dr. Zhivago style saga, isn't it? That you're getting your bling back from Boston.
Honestly, I think the podcast was the lucky charm, because when we were on 2 weeks ago, I said it hasn't come, nothing's happened, there's been no movement. And as we were on the show, I had an email to say that it had been dispatched with my tracking information. So it's almost like the Long Run Show is not just award winning, but it's a saving grace.
Yeah, we don't just trouser massive awards for our efforts. Well, we get things done.
Exactly.
So if you've got a problem, we're a bit like the A-team. If you've got a problem, no one else can help. Perhaps you can hire the Long Run team.
Exactly, and it's worked magic. So now I've got my lovely medal just in time to get my other one at the weekend. So all is good. All's good, my side.
Great. Hayden, how are you, mate? Have you recovered from all them curly whirlies you was eating at the weekend?
Oh God, that was bad. Yeah. Oh, hopefully you haven't seen the video, because that wasn't me at my finest moment. But no, I had an amazing week. Obviously, it started off culminated last week in the trip down to the Somerdale Pavilion Park run, the curly whirly one. I'd say that is fun. It's just funny. You can't stop laughing, because as you go into this maze and you start working your way into the middle, everyone's behind you, sort of thing. And as you get to the middle, you sort of unwind and you come back round. So there was about 200 of us all sort of doing these swirls, or you just don't know which way you're going. You can get a bit dizzy with it. It's just hilarious. Everyone, and actually at the start they got like the Benny Hill music. It's like everyone chasing each other. Honestly, it was just you're just laughing the whole way around. It was just such a great day. Honestly,
it looks unreal. I think someone posted it on their story, and I was like, I knew that I've heard of this Curly Whirly Park Run, but I didn't really understand the ins and outs of it, literally. And I saw it and I thought, wow, this is amazing.
It's just the fact that it's like it's I don't know whoever invented it. It's in this field, and to be honest, no disrespect to the park, it's like this derelict field. It's just but they've cut the grass perfectly, so you just go round and round and round in this maze. What a fantastic idea, and it attracts people all the time. But it didn't just attract people this time. So we took around about 90 of us, and obviously we go there, we break records. Their highest turnout, 40 Runs community there. So they get their highest turnout. They've been going for quite a while, so they're pretty pleased with that. It's a bit like last time when we all rocked up at Great Yarmouth, and each week they do different stats for Park Run. And that particular week went to Great Yarmouth. It was the most increased visitors in the whole United Kingdom because we were up there. This time we go down to the Somerdale Park Run. Soon we're going to be getting invites from these park runs, asking us to go down, maybe even paying us to go down. And that'd be great. And so on the back of that, obviously we had such a great day out in Bath and that. So we decided we'd already been planning it for the next round. The next round we decided to go over to the Isle of Wight on this hovercraft. We put out the ads on Monday. We sold out a whole entire hovercraft in 3 days. We've got our own hovercraft. We've got our own hovercraft to ourselves going to the Isle of Wight in August.
That's mental, isn't it?
That's mad.
It's just
Who's driving?
I don't know. I want to have a drink, so I'm not too sure.
I want to drive the hovercraft. You'd want to have a go if it was all you and your mates, wouldn't you? You'd think,
I'd have a go. Yeah, might get a bit reckless.
I want to see Lloyd have his drone try and keep up with the hovercraft. His drone footage is epic. Oh, by the way, I've got to give Wilco kudos. He's the only one on brand tonight for our wonderful sketches.
Well, I've got to invite back, you know.
See that? Hayden didn't bother.
He came real prepared. I can't lie. Well done.
Well done, Wilco. Yeah. I mean, I've got my London finishers top on one of the 6th major t-shirts.
The one that you actually earned.
Oh, straight in, 2-footed. Hayden, interesting question from somebody, and I think it's not fair that I answer it. Is that the picture behind you? Is that with you, some of the bandmates?
Picture behind me. Honestly,
somebody. So if you're on the pod, if you're listening to this on the pod and you're a gentle little jog out, Hayden has got a picture behind him of him and 3 of the bandmates. Is that before you all fell out?
I had to be 3 of the bandmates. There's meant to be 6 of us, weren't there?
No, there was 6 of you, but I'm just saying you probably had your favourites, didn't you? I'm just saying, Richie.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, listen, we've got to give a shout out to everybody in the chat because they're lighting up the chat box. If you're listening to this for the first time thinking, what the hell is this rubbish, right? We have a live chat feed. We are unlike any other podcast in the world, and that's why we're award-winning, because we do this live, and there are millions, because it doesn't matter, they're not watching live, we can say anything we want. There's millions of people in the chat tonight, and they're all saying good evening. So good evening, everybody. We can't keep up with you all, but we do want to hear your questions, and we do want to see anything you've got around fitting running into your life, because that's what we're going to be talking about soon. So we want you to get that in there, and we will come on to it. I've got to give a shout out to Tony, who's doing our 100th park run this weekend at what's he called?
Cannock Chase.
Cannock
Chase. So make sure you go down there. That's a crack at that one. As I said, I think it was last week, didn't I? That I really, really enjoyed that. And as Gary said, make sure you smash the like button. And this is a great thing to do. I don't know who this is, but the absolute hero. Stand up if you love running. So if you're at home and you're watching this live, you've got to stand up now and then take a picture of yourself, post it on Instagram and tag. What's the, you're going to get it right this week, Hayden?
It's at Long Run Show.
At Long Run Show, tag us. And then we'll put them on our story. So stand up, take a picture if you're watching live. If you're running along, kind of lose the bit, don't you? Anyway, I've just seen on my phone, guys, there's a weather warning coming out for Hackney this weekend. And I'm going to be a little bit of a serious person for the next minute and a half. So batten down the hatches, people. Last year when I ran the Hackney half, I saw one of the most distressing things I've seen in a long time. And that was a person receiving CPR on the side of the course who we later found out passed away. At that moment, when I was running past what was going on, I stopped and walked from there to the finish. I would strongly recommend anybody who's going for a PR or a PB at Hackney on Sunday to don't bother. You do whatever you want, right? But I'm just telling you, I've run it for a few times. And if it says it's 18 degrees, it feels about 28 because of the way the course works. It winds its way through Hackney, through the buildings and through the houses. There's not much air or breeze that's floating around. There's a lot of people on course as well, which I think increases the heat factor, and you can really get overwhelmed. You need to make sure you're hydrated before you start. You need to make sure you hydrate through the race. I'm not saying overhydrate, okay, but be sensible. And then you make sure you hydrate like a fish when you finish. Please, 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 from the bottom of my heart, anybody doing any racing this weekend, but in particular Hackney, take bloody care of yourselves, all right? You don't need to be a hero to go out and run a PB at Hackney Half. It's one of the best races. It's got the best atmosphere, I think, of one of these half marathons other than the Great North Run. Just enjoy it, okay? So that's me being sensible for that was a good minute and a half on it, Wilco.
Yeah, almost spot on. You're getting the hang of this, look, aren't you?
I know. It's almost like we're award winning.
We'll get you to press the button soon, and we'll be laughing. We'll be.
I don't know. I'm getting confused with all these buttons. I'll be straight up, even though I take the mickey out, but I have missed Tobe. I really have because basically I keep cocking everything up.
That's what I said. You know, I used to say he was like Charlie Watts. You know.
We're live. We're a live podcast. We're a live award-winning podcast.
Yeah. It's a bit of advice out for people. It's nothing to do with running whatsoever, but we wouldn't be the long run show if we didn't do things like this. I had a really, really good idea. If you are planning a wedding, a christening, a barbecue, a family get together, or anything, and you're thinking next year, when shall I have it? Have it the day of the Hackney Half, because it is always, always, always the bloody hottest day of the year. For some reason, that half marathon just attracts the sun. It's always one of the hottest days of the year. So next year, when you're making the plans, see when the Hackney Half is. Guaranteed it'll be sunshine.
Now, I haven't done this race. I'm making my debut. What have I got to look forward to on Sunday?
Noise, and a lot of people. It's a crowded field, yeah, and it's not a bad thing, but you've got to be prepared. There's a lot of runners. That's why, again, unless you're like wearing, thin vests and 3-inch shorts, which actually is quite appealing. You're not gonna get out and get fresh air. You're gonna probably be with a lot of people, which I think is kind of cool. So just be prepared that you ain't probably going to run the pace that you probably want to. And I would really, really enjoy it, Wilco. The noise, the singing, the bands, the crowd. It's fantastic. It really is. It's showing off the East End of London, I think. It's a cracker. It really does bring a great vibe to it. So I would fully recommend that you take it in and enjoy it. And I think you're going to have a great time. But just go with the expectation of enjoying it. The other thing is as well, be prepared. It's about a 20-mile trip from Westfield, right, to the actual start of Hackney.
It is a train to Homerton instead.
Isn't it like 20 minutes walk?
Yeah, it's a long way.
Oh,
we'll get a train to.
It is a long way when you're lazy. And you've got to remember, poor old Tobe, he's going to have to sit there and listen to me moan about the walk because he has to listen every year about the length of this walk. I will moan the whole way because it's stupid. And I should have somebody pick me up in a golf cart and take me there. And that's basically
Olympic Park does have some of them floating around.
I quite like the idea. But anyway, so I hope to see loads of people there. If you're there, we are around. What wave are you in, Wilco?
E.
Jatila, what wave are you?
B.
She's hardcore.
B.
Have you wrote your name and your badge?
Right. So the thing is, right, I have written my name on my bib. I've never done it before. Apart from Manchester, where you have to put it on. I've never put my name on it before because the pronunciation of my name is never correct. So if anything, I'm going to be put off by people calling me the wrong name. If anything,
well, this is what I was going to say.
Exciting. I'm excited to hear.
You could do two things. I think firstly we could get you a T-shirt with it pronounced correctly, so you could like break it down.
The phonetic spelling on game,
so people get it right. Or you could do what I'm encouraging every single person to do who's listening to this weekend. And if you're doing Hackney, and maybe you listen to this tomorrow and Shakeout Run, we've got a runner in Broxbourne, and his name's Doug, right? But on his top, we call him 00 Doug because I swear he works for the CIA, right? He always goes off for 2 weeks, right? And he's pretending he's doing some sort of job out in Poland. I 100% know he works for the CIA, 100%, because even his daughter doesn't know he works for the CIA, right? So we called him one week 00 Doug, and it stuck. So this week I'm putting on my number 00 Doug, 00 space Doug. If you haven't put your name on there yet, and you're not really that fast, I want to see as many 00 Dougs out on calls this weekend as possible. I think it'd be brilliant because people will be going, what's going on here? Why is everyone called 00 Doug? See what I mean? So Jatilla, you really up the garden path there, because that would have been brilliant.
I just got so excited when it came through the post. I was like, right, I need to write on it now. Where's my Sharpie? I raced to that kitchen to get my Sharpie.
In fact, I'm going to change my name on this panel to 00 Doug. Ready for it. So everybody knows how to put it on their race bib.
All right. So this is where we all go off air, is it?
Yeah. Doug. This is where it ends. It's great. 15 minutes.
We'll press the button.
Here we go. Look.
It's all good.
I'm now. Here we go.
Oh, here we go. Oh, yeah. Look at that.
See? 00 Doug.
Doug's doing the race himself, isn't he?
What?
Doug's there, isn't he?
Oh, yeah. Doug's running. I don't know. I'm hoping he's in D.
He ought to be. He ought to be painted. He's definitely in D.
Anyway, we should probably talk about some other stuff. But anyway, so
yes.
If you're running Hackney, give yourself your name, 00 Doug. Other than that, we'll see you all there. We'll be mooching about. I've got a really cool pair of shorts to bring out. Hayden. Si's a little bit nervous about it. Oh, and I'm quite excited to hear Simon's rating as well.
I'm bringing out the Alpha Flies for the first time in a race.
Wow. Why are you doing on a race that you can't run a time at?
Pardon?
Why are you going for it? Why are you putting them on for a race that you ain't going for?
Because they're beautiful and they go with my outfit.
Oh, I forgot about that, yeah.
They go with my outfit, and I'm going to do my nails purple. My top's going to be pink. The medal's pink and purple. The shoes are pink and orange. Oh, can't wait.
Wow, yeah.
Yes, now, Chris, you wanted to... we've just come into the end of Mental Health Awareness Week, and the club have been doing plenty. We've had plenty of involvement with that, with the satellites this week, and there's been a lot going on, isn't there?
Yes, I've got to give a shout out. I wanted to give a shout out to the front end of the show, to our mental health captains within the club. If you didn't know what that is that we have these amazing people, these welfare officers and these mental health captains within the infrastructure of the affiliated club. So we work with England Athletics on that. And this week's been, I would say, one of the highlights so far of the club being formed. And that is that it was Mental Health Awareness Week. And this year they're talking about anxiety, which is obviously something I openly talk about, the fact that I suffer with it. And it was amazing to see that over the course of the week, at all the 20, 30 satellite groups we've got, plus the virtual running club and within the Facebook group, the amount of talking and awareness around anxiety. So for like myself, I went to 2 sessions this week, and I spoke before the guys went out for a run, which we made that they were chatty and social runs. Wilco, you was there, you took part yourself. And we spoke briefly about anxiety and the positive effect running can have on that. And also coming along to meet other runners. But I know sometimes some people struggle because they might be going through something and the anxiety stopping them from coming to a social club like we have. But also they've then got the, like the WhatsApp groups or the messenger groups that have been set up. So they still feel connected, even though they might not feel confident enough to, at that stage, come out of their front door. But they can still be connected to the community and to the club via those other ways of communication, which is just fabulous. And I just wanted to give a shout out to everybody. We really made a difference, I think, this week to a lot of people, and in particularly around the whole awareness part of it. I got some lovely messages from people saying thank you very much for bringing this to as many people's attention as possible. So I just want to say, big shout out to our satellite leaders, to our mental health and welfare champions within the club, and everybody else involved, because it's been powerful stuff. And like I always say, if you're struggling, make sure you talk to somebody. It's really, really important.
I found it definitely helped me. I mean, not particularly from an anxiety point of view, but it really helped me this week because then, I didn't go to Hartford on Tuesday. I had a particularly bad day at work on Tuesday. I got stuck behind a bit and felt knackered. I've just come back from holiday, so I was a bit fed up. And getting out on Wednesday really helped, coming to Brock, because I'm right in the middle of Hartford and Broxbourne. Going out with a Broxbourne group on Wednesday. I had a good chat with Neve. I've not done much running in the last couple of weeks. We had a nice chat going along the river. I didn't have to do too much. Everyone knows Neve. I didn't have to do much talking. But it was nice to have a bit of company and just to get out, decent weather, get out of the house. And I found it really, really helped me as well. So, thanks so much.
Yeah, I would really recommend. The last shout out before we move on to talking about what we were going to talk about, is to the guys at Bladen Races. I don't know whether anybody knows or is aware of. If you don't follow me on Instagram, it's 40_runs. Also follow, what is it, Hayden? Just make sure you get it right this time.
At long
So he still mucks it up. Well done. Attila, what is it?
At Long Run Show.
It's his age. Bless him. Don't forget, right? If he's not getting his tablets and he's not doing his routine, the old starts losing it a bit. So, Hayden, do you want to try again and we can edit that out on the podcast?
I told you it's at Long Run Show.
Yeah, so don't worry, it'll be all right. Anyway, so I'm doing Bladen Races. I've got an elite crew coming with me, mainly Hayden. And he's running it. Listen to this, right? When they ask for official times, guess what I put down for his 10K time? Wilco, what do you think I put down as his 10K time?
You need to go around the room.
About 33 minutes.
What's happened is this number's turned
You
up
put
today.
something like 35 minutes.
No.
This number's turned up today and it's really low. And I looked at it and I thought, I know there's a load of races. This Bladen Races is big. And I thought there's a load of runners here. And my number is literally really, really low. So I messaged him and I said, I'm not sure they got this number right. And he told me what time they put down for me.
28 minutes. Yeah, but the thing is, right, you've got to remember, I can't help myself. Why give me the power to not only give out some information, but to give other bits of information? I'm not going to do it properly, am I? I'm a child. So 28 minutes. Hayden's going to be leading Bladen Races for about 30 seconds like I did at the London Landmarks. And then he's going to get ruined by all the elite, all the semi-pro runners from all the amazing clubs around in Newcastle. So anyway, we're going there. So if you're going to Bladen Races, if you're not going to Bladen Races, but you want to come along to Park Run, we are planning on Saturday to go, because the race is on Friday night, to the Park Run that's in Exhibition Park. If it's not cancelled because of the fair, if it's moved because of the fair, then we'll go to the next nearest one and we'll let you know. Follow us on the social medias and in the Facebook group. But we're going to go to Park Run on Saturday, where we hope to meet up with our Newcastle and County Durham satellite groups. But anybody else who's in that area who wants a bit of Park Run tourism, or maybe you're listening to this in Peru and you want to fly over, Newcastle's got an airport, come over. Hayden's going to do a little set afterwards, probably a little a cappella at the end. Some of his greatest hits from when he was in 6. Got to get right, get copyrighted. Sorry, Hayden. So it's going to be awesome. But I don't, actually saying that, Hayden, you might not get there because you might have got run over by all these semi-elites after you start off at the front.
Well, if I do, the lawyer's been knocking down your door.
It's going to be scary.
Go out, sprint start. You've got this. Go out. Just go out. Make the most of it.
Yeah,
there for a reason.
When is this, gents?
This is on this Friday. So we've got like the world's busiest weekend. So we've got Friday the 9th or whatever it is. And then, so we do that. Then we're going to Park Run. And then we're heading down to Southend for the Pink Picnic, Southend. Well, so I'll do it the right way around. Southend Half Marathon and the Pink Picnic. But basically, I'm going there for the picnic, which the club's helping with food and drink and stuff like that. So if you're not running the Southend half because you don't fancy it, come down anyway to Southend. They need volunteers. They need marshals. Come down and just hang out because there's going to be loads of us there. We'll have the gazebo will be up and there's food, there's drink that the club have provided. They've given the Southend crew a budget to go and spend it. So that probably mostly on booze. And then because we're athletes. So if you're in that neck of the woods and you don't fancy like running a half marathon because maybe you're on the couch to 5K, everybody's welcome. Okay. So wherever you are listening to this and you fancy a day out, as long as it's not raining, because if it's raining, we'll just like do the race and sack it off and plan something else. But yeah, I'd recommend that you come along because it'll be great fun.
It's a good game. I was injured last year and I went along and spectated at Southend, and it's great. Loads of good vantage points, loads of places where you can you see people on numerous occasions. It's nice and down.
But yeah, we're up in the northeast on Saturday, down in the southeast on Sunday. So hopefully we get to see something. But yes, Mike's just, well, then we'll move on, Wilco, because he's just asked a really sensible question. Will Hayden be wearing the shortest of running shorts with the professionals? Yes. Hayden's also, so in terms of kit, I requested 3-inch shorts, extra large. What? 28 minutes. I'll leave you there. Right. So Wilco, steady, get the shit back on, get the hovercraft back on course.
I was wondering what you're saying there, mate. We did see, So Right, we're 25 minutes in. So what we really want to talk about tonight is how to fit running into your, how to attempt to fit running into your busy lifestyle. Obviously, everybody leads, and we've all got commitments, whether it be family, work, other things going on in our lives, social lives, the demands of partners and kids and all this sort of stuff. You know, it can be a real headache trying to get your runs in if you want to make an improvement and you want to do your training plans. Now, Jatila, somebody set this off, didn't they? We had a message. Was it from Ross?
We had a lovely message. I will read it out from a gentleman called Ross Carr. So Ross, hello, if you're listening this evening. And he emailed us, or he sent a message in on Instagram and said, so Fordy, love the podcast and the videos, the best around. Any chance you guys can discuss running as a new parent? He's been a dad for 4 months now, and he's never run less, despite not wanting to run more than he does right now. It's been a proper struggle with 2 jobs and sort of working. And anyways, he was really happy with what we're doing, but wanted us to touch on this topic. So I thought it'd be really, really nice to just give him a little shout out and say you're doing absolutely incredibly, Ross. So first of all, like the fact that you want to know how to sort of fit it in or what we can sort of give. Me personally, I'm not a parent, but I know that off the back end of training with some sort of incredible people over the last few years, one of the key things I've noticed with them is taking their little ones to the track. So obviously like going out onto the like the course or the roads, it's quite difficult really. Like you don't really want to be taking kids out unless they're in a running buggy or something like that. But when obviously they're 4 months now, so they're only babies, but taking them to the track, using it sort of like a day out, like bring people down with you. The track's super safe. You can sort of have all eyes on everything and get the track reps in as well. And it's also, you might realize that you might get some real sort of speed sessions done there or just some simple laps. That's one thing that I noticed from sort of just growing up around that sort of atmosphere, and it's great. And then the kids also take like a natural sort of feel to the track and what they're doing, which I think is really nice. So definitely, if you've got a track local to you, even just taking them down whilst they're there. There's always people down there, especially on club nights, that would be like, look, go and do your reps. You go.
They were telling people to stick their head in the pram, weren't they?
Yeah, people just love it. Like they do.
Until I never ever would have thought of that. That is brilliant. And what a great, because obviously you've got the changing facilities there, you've got the toilets, and as you say, it's a safe environment. If you're there with your club, or if you don't have a club, I would still recommend it. Don't be just because of these clubs and everything like that. But as Jatila said, you could, your mum or your dad or whoever's, maybe you've got some family or some friends can come with you, like as you said, and it's a bit of a funny thing maybe for them to see and do, and that is a brilliant idea. I would 100% recommend that. What a cracking idea that is. Yeah. I like that, and it's structured as well, so you're there for 45 minutes, but you're still getting it.
This is a great suggestion from Alf Dickinson on the chat as well, sort of linked to this. And being somebody, I've seen this quite a lot. I fit in my midweek runs in when my kids are at football, cricket or karate, and now early on a Saturday as they and my missus sleep in. When I first started, I used to see, and I'd take my daughter to football training on a Monday, and I'd stand by the side of the pitch, and a couple of the mums and dads would just go off. And then I couldn't, I wasn't a runner then, and I couldn't comprehend. They'd go out for an hour. They'd run for an hour, and they'd just go around the streets, and they'd come back, and then, that was a great time. That's a really good one because, and like Chris said, with your club sessions at a track, they know that they've got a certain period of time. They know that they can do a certain distance or certain workout in that period of time, and I think that's a really good one. If you've got kids going to football or rugby or whatever, and you've got a window, some of them even used to run around the pitch while they were doing it. Used to watch them around the park.
Yeah, Emma Fleming, who comes on a Wednesday, on a Thursday, some weeks she'll drop the girls off to running club, and she'll then go off and do her run, which is, you know what I mean? So she's got time to do that. So anything like that's really cool. What about you, Hayden? I tell you what, Hayden, let's look at it in terms of work, because obviously I know it's difficult when you were touring and things like that, but now you've got like a steady line.
Let's keep it serious.
Because you don't really need to do that. But with your empire, how do you How do you? I can't do
You're right. It's difficult, as you said. You can compare, I suppose, in a way, the sort of kids situation as to running a business. I'd say I've been lucky. It's the wrong words. My kids, I've got a 24-year-old now, so it was a long time ago before they were like too young to leave by themselves, and I wasn't really running then. I was more playing football. But yeah, comparing it like for like with the businesses, I've got 3 businesses, so it does take up a lot of my time. And running, obviously, everyone knows it's one of these sports that takes up a hell of a lot of your time. People that go and play football and they train once a week and then they have a game on a Sunday. You're out on a Tuesday night and you're out on a Sunday, and that's it. If you go to the pub after, you're out most of the day Sunday. But that's about it. Other sports you do keep fit, but running is that one sport, especially if you're training for something, particularly marathon training, it takes up a hell of a lot of your time and a lot of your life, and fitting it in is difficult. I always think that, and I'm probably going to get absolutely hammered in the comments about this.
Hey.
I do think sometimes, not the kid situation. Let's forget about we've been talking about the couple of comments about the kids, totally 100% behind them. But when everyone else gives you this stuff about saying like, oh, I haven't got time for running, I do think at times that can be looking for an excuse. It's almost like if I've got a marathon plan, I'm going to go out and I've got a real tough, threshold session. I'm always in the back of my mind an hour before thinking, I'm not sure if I've got a niggle. I've got to do this tonight. I'm not sure. You're almost like doubting yourself, thinking, I don't want to do it because it's going to be hard work. I think some people have that with the running as well. They get home, they've had a hard day, long day, I'm not doubting that. But I just think if you push yourself and you go out and do that run, you make the time for yourself. It's really easly to not make the time for yourself.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying everyone's exactly the same.
No,
I'm not saying you lot are all lying about all this. I just think everyone gets that time. You talk like, speak to someone and say, oh, I just didn't have time to go out for one last night. And then the next sentence they're saying, oh, did you watch that thing on Netflix?
Oh, yeah.
And you're like, okay, well, you do. And going out for a run can mean 20 minutes. Yeah, you're not talking going out for 2 hours, 3 hours. But again, I'm not trying to say that everyone's making up these excuses, but I just find like I've had to push myself. But someone in the comments a minute ago made the absolute greatest comment. I can't even think who it is now. It basically, there it is. Mike Blackridge, fitting things in is possible with a support group of friends and family where there's need for sacrifices by them. I am really, really lucky. I have got good support around me. And listen, I'm being truthful now. I'm not just doing this for a cheeky early Friday night, but I've got my wife. And honestly, she is absolutely fantastic. And she supports me with everything. I'm very lucky the fact that she's a runner. So she gets it and she runs as well. When you've got people like that around you and they're supporting you, it makes it easier. And they're encouraging. She'll say to me when I get home, you're going out for a run, rather than me thinking and then that straight away, I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm going to go for a run. And that support really, really helps. So I just think you do need that.
So right. You are right? I couldn't do anything, and I mean anything, without Nick.
I'm sorry.
I'm a bit like Hayden with Lou. It's seriously, you can't, the sacrifice they make, right? But she's amazing because she'll go, you got to go for a run, or you got to do this, or you got this, you got that. Like to do that, it's just unbelievable. Like seriously, and that's where I'm so lucky, like Hayden, to have that, person.
Do you think do you think it helps as well that Nick's so committed into other areas of what she does? Because she's got her own thing.
Yeah. But she's just that selfless, caring person. She's just the nicest person you could ever meet, and she'll do anything for you. And that's the way she is. She's always been like that, and that's why she's just so amazing. And you think what I get away with, right? It's absolute. Well, it's daylight robbery, isn't it? But it's true. So like similar to like Hayden, do you know what I mean? I think actually Hayden, we should never put those two together. Just thinking about it, because we might as well just go, that big hole that I've got in the garden ready for me. You might as well jump in there with me. That big 6-foot hole. So I think the other thing is as well. So I think what you where I was actually wanting to go with it more than obviously give the girls a shout out, but is also I think we kind of go that way is to try and get it done early in the morning, which somebody did mention about, and it is that if you leave it till late in the day, you can think to yourself, "Oh, sod that." And I get it, right? Because I've done it a million times. But unless you've got like a club session, which you've got to go to because like you're under a bit of pressure because you want to get there, sort of thing. But if it's a day where you don't have like a satellite group like we, one of ours, then I would recommend getting it done in the morning. The earlier the better, because otherwise you end up talking yourself out of it all day. You're like. I
cannot agree more with that one. I think I've really been struggling over the winter period to sort of get out early and do things early in the morning. But I did one on, I think it was Wednesday. I went out and just did a 3 miles down by the river really early in the morning before work. And it was the first time in ages. And I mean, the weather did help, but it's also a case of just being realistic with what your goals are. Like, for example, I kind of look at my work week and I think, right, I know that I've got a really busy meeting on Tuesday here. I'm not going to be able to fit a run in at lunch. If I lower what my expectations and aim for a 3 mile in the morning or at lunch instead of a 6 mile, I'm more likely to do it. Like, if I look at my schedule and I think, oh gosh, I've got 6 miles to do on a Wednesday afternoon and I know that I've got a busy meeting, I'm already pushing myself out of it. So it's just sort of being realistic with what your week looks like. Like, take a look at your week, be a little bit more prepared of what's going on and think, okay, I'm going to dedicate myself to do this in the morning. I know that I've only got 2 miles to do at lunch. I can go out and do that and have my lunch after. It's just being sort of realistic and be with yourself as well. Give yourself the time in your training program to get that done, so you don't feel like you're behind, you feel like you're ahead in that sort of instance. Life goes quick, we're busy people. Like, we can fit it in, but make it realistic for you.
But I think you touched on something really cool there, because if you look at and that's actually what I do. So I will sit there and I work on a 7-day plan, right? But I will work out and go, right, this week I'm going to be smashed out. Like, I've got call here, work there, coaching here, coaching there. So what actually is achievable this week? Okay, what realistic? What's my sort of lowest number that I can get away with in terms of getting out and running this week? And then I'll build that, and I'll think to myself, okay, with a long run at the weekend, that's roughly going to be my miles. Such a low expectation of what I can get done, but I plan it out. Obviously, you've got to be able to adapt and change. But I'll go, right, Monday, I should be able to get 4 miles. There's nothing on that should stop me doing that. Tuesday, I'm so banged out, it'll be at club. I'll probably get 3 miles with the guys at club. Thanks very much. I might even get a few cheeky ones in beforehand. And like as you say, just plan your week out if you can. And I mean, again, it's very hard for people, with if you've got a young family or you've got a new job or whatever. But I would always come in it with no pressure. I think the worst thing we do is put pressure on ourselves to try and, like you say, I've got to get this done. I've got to get that. No, you don't. You don't have to do anything. If you don't do no running for a week, apart from, if you're someone who runs for your mental health, then realistically, you're not going to lose anything in terms of fitness or whatever. Just accept the fact that you ain't going to run that week. I know you enjoy it and you do it, and we all do it for the reasons we do it, but you don't worry about it. So if you can't run that week, don't worry about it. And then try and plan out, see if you can get something as and when. I think that's probably the best way to do it. But yeah, running, I think before we move on, I think running early, I love the idea of going to the track. Absolutely love that. Having a really good support network. Don't be afraid to ask people. Just say, whatever. And as we just said, try and plan your week out somehow, but don't put pressure on yourself. I think that's probably.
I think also, like, especially if you're working in a job where you might be able to sort of commute. I know, sort of, Chris, you've mentioned on it before, like you've done a few runs to and from work. I know that when I was working for a running events company, my whole morning on a weekend would be taken up by working. So it's like the only time I've really got to do it is to run back from an event. So you kind of get those in. And I mean, where I live now to where I work, it's probably about 15 miles. So what I've done previously is sort of got the train to, say, sort of like Clapham, and then ran the rest of the way, which wasn't too bad, which is sort of like a 6 mile run if you take the right route. So it's also just like spending that time at the weekend, maybe planning. If you can take a different route, it's also cheaper because train prices
100%.
are extortionate.
I used to love commute running.
I loved it.
I loved it. Down the River Lee.
Good bag, invest in something good. Also forces you to go into the office if you leave your laptop at home. You can then do a run back or get the train back and then run in again the next day.
Really good for you.
Yeah.
And I always found that I sort of left when I was doing that a lot when I had a different job, quite a stressful job in the city. And I would find that I would leave all of that at work because I would run home. By the time I got home, I'd left it all there. And it was only like 3-4 miles back then. But I would do it like every day. And because it just, not only was I getting miles in, but I was, running the day out of my head effectively. So, yeah.
And knowing that you've left that laptop as well. And I used to do it a fair bit where I used to get into the habit of driving home from work when I would drive. And I would get home, I'd put the dinner on, I'd open my laptop up straight away as well. So it's almost like you're clearing your sort of headspace as well. Like you get through that door, you've done a run back, you don't have your laptop, you can't physically open it to carry on working. You've got no choice but to just take some time for yourself and focus on yourself for the evening, and then you're clear-headed going into the morning.
I've got a serious question for Hayden. Hayden, when you was on tour, did they give you a treadmill in your dressing room so you could get your runs in?
No, the problem with it was you're always running away from screaming fans, so you end up just doing nothing.
Is that why you started running, to run away from the fans?
Yeah, but sometimes I used to like getting caught, so it didn't do me no good getting faster.
Yeah, we probably better move on.
This is a good observation from Martin McGinney. My problem is that when I'm at work, I walk about 8 or 9 miles a day as I'm a posting. So when I get home, it takes serious motivation to get out again for a run.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, totally get that.
We've had people saying as well about shift work. You know, how do I fit in?
I think also with shift work, I loved it. I worked in Asda and it was the best thing. I loved the job. I did, as soon as I hit 18, I was able to do like the night shifts and it was great. Summers, I just started, I was still just coming out of sprinting then. So I'd sort of do like maybe jogs down, and then at night, my mum would then come and sort of like pick me up and things like that. But I kind of got people at work, like they'd be like, you run here before like a shift that starts at 6 p.m? And I'm like, yeah, like for me, it was only like a little 2 mile down a hill. So it was perfect. And they were kind of like, oh, interesting. And eventually I ended up having sort of like, I think I had around two or three people that also started doing the same thing. So it's the same with shift patterns. Although they're awkward and difficult hours, talking to people, you could also arrange groups, or you can try and get people together that might be interested in doing
I've just had a brilliant idea.
thing.
I've just had a brilliant idea. You can't claim it though, because it kind of is yours, but I'm taking it.
Go for it. As many people that know about it.
Why don't you start? So if you're listening to this, right, I know you probably, a lot of you tuned in to, see Hayden, and hopefully he's going to sing a song at the end. But why don't you, at your work, start a run club? 40 Runs, Run Club, whatever company you work for, Tesco's, Asda, they can sponsor the podcast. But I'm being serious, right? Why not start a social lunchtime run club?
I have one at my work now, like going from a mass participation company where everybody ran, going to sort of like a more corporate setting, sort of like 9 to 5. Quite lucky that quite a few of the guys sort of run, they've done marathons and things, but it's just like getting that group together and being like, let's just go for a run, 20 minutes. And for me, it's to Battersea Park and back. And then you've still got time to eat your lunch, grab a coffee. And it's also quite nice and social to set yourself out. Set
it up, get them in the club, get them branded. Lovely, jubbly. Wilco.
Hello.
I don't know whether we got time, but I had another. I'm almost out of brilliant ideas, because this was another one I just had. It's amazing how many one person can have.
I'm getting nervous now.
Hayden's not even watching. Look, he's giving up. He's giving up the ghost.
He's just waiting.
He's saving his voice.
Heart's beating at 200 beats per minute because he doesn't know what's coming next.
He's saving his voice. Wilco, have we got time to talk about? Because I just thought about. I know we're meant to be talking about like fitting running in and stuff.
Yeah.
But I want to change tactics a little bit, because I had a thought. Some people might be doing Hackney. It just dawned on me for the first time. Right. So have we got time to talk? Yeah. Have we got time quickly to talk about maybe if you was running your first half this weekend? It doesn't have to be a Hackney. Like some tips or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a bit of a curveball, I know, but I just thought about it because I know people who are running it for the first time. So I just thought, what was the sort of, I don't know, even if we give like a tip each or something like that might help somebody who's maybe listening to this tomorrow and they're bricking it about doing Hackney on Sunday or another half marathon somewhere else.
We're in the half marathon season really now, aren't we? Because but we've still got Edinburgh still to go, isn't there? And there's probably a couple of other marathons. But then, we'll get to the end of May and then it's going to be sort of halves all the way really until
10K.
So perhaps now's the time to have a look at it, mate. Yeah,
it's probably a separate episode by itself, but I was just thinking about Hackney. And I know a couple of people who are doing their first half. So I'll tell you what then. Let's get Hayden chatting, because otherwise you're going to fall asleep. This is Hayden. Hayden, right, serious point. if you was telling yourself that who was about to run his first half marathon, what would you tell yourself? And don't say just enjoy it.
No. That's not me. I hate that. It's true in a lot of the cases, but I hate that. So I would, my very first half, I could tell myself again, probably not to worry, most important thing, because if it's your first one, whether it's a 10K, a half or a full, you always, no matter how confident you are, there's always been worry and anxiety, and don't be worried about it, because better than an absolute disaster, which isn't going to happen. You're going to get round, you're going to get it done. It's going to work for you. You're going to be just that feeling is absolutely fantastic to complete your first one. So literally most important, just don't worry. If you're at Hackney, as you said, you're probably not going to be going for a time, because it would be, as we've all given our opinions on it, it'd be madness to go for a time at Hackney, purely because it's so busy and the heat. But if you're going for a time elsewhere, don't change anything from what you've practiced. If you've trained to run at a 6-minute kilometre, run at a 6-minute kilometre. If you've trained to run at a 5:30, go and run at a 5:30. And if it feels tough after them first 5 or 6K, keep going. Once you get to 10, 11, 12K, you crack on. Your body will get used to that, and it will just, all the training you've done, all the hard work will just kick in, and literally you will finish it, and you'll finish it strong. Just get rid of the doubt. You don't need that. This is about being strong up here. Don't worry, be strong and be confident, and just absolutely smash it.
Before I come to Wilco and Jatila, another quick tip: get Spotify and download 6 They Came Five's album.
Actually, can I just say, not a Hackney, because if I was you, I would not be taking my headphones to Hackney, because, as you said, the atmosphere and the noise there.
You lose out on royalties, so you're doing yourself out of money there.
Yeah, but you don't get much on Spotify, do you?
Doesn't you not get much?
No.
I got kicked out anyway, so I get nothing.
Oh, he gets nothing anyway. Don't matter. That's why he don't care no more. Right. So going back to Jatila, let's go to you.
My first.
What would you tell yourself if you was running your first half marathon and you had like you on your shoulder in your Alpha Flies that matched the rest of your outfit? What would you tell yourself?
Trust myself. And I've mentioned this before, that I don't trust myself going out into many races. I get nervous sort of first half, second half, whatever. But I think what Hayden touched on is super important, is to trust what you've done. I think it's super, super important to just trust the process. Like, you've done the work, you've done exactly what you can, you've got a goal in mind. Don't think too much into that. Just trust yourself. You're going to see so many people at races. I still turn up to races and you see people doing these crazy warm-ups. You see people zooming past you in all their sort of flashy gear, this, that, the other. You know exactly what you've done, and you know that you've trained for it. You're on that start line. You're there. Feel good. Enjoy the atmosphere, because there's absolutely nothing that you can change on that day that is going to affect your time, your performance, what you've done. Just trust the process. The only thing you can do is panic, and you put yourself into your own headspace. Yeah. Just go out there and do what you've done. Don't change anything, whether that be from hydration. Yes, it's going to be warm. Yes, I'd consider sort of hydrating sort of from now, sort of even before 48 hours, 72 hours before. Make sure that you're feeling good to go, and just do everything the same. Don't change gels. If you don't want to take stuff that's on course, don't take it. And just enjoy the ride. I think I know we say that, but just do it. You've done the hard work.
Yeah. What about you, Wilco?
I would say, because the chances are, if you haven't done it, you've done your training, and don't do what. Hopefully, you haven't done what I did when I did before my first half marathon, and I saw about this thing called tapering. And I thought, great, I can just sit on the sofa for 2 weeks, which is what I did. So don't do that, kids. Well, it's too late now. You won't do that anyway. But what I would say is that while you're doing your training, you've probably not covered the full trip. You've probably not run 13 miles. I mean, I did in this just because I wanted to know that I could do it, but you probably haven't. So 10 miles is a bit of a landmark. So when you get to 10 miles, the last thing that you think is, God, I've never run this far before. This is the point where you turn to all your positives. You think about how brilliantly you've done to get that far and to do it. And then you make it, I mean, we all laugh and it's always like, oh yeah, park run to go, but it is. So just bear it in mind. And that's the point to really enjoy it. If you think of all your positive thoughts for that, I don't know, it could be 10, 12 minutes between the 10 mile and the 11 mile, you're going to be in a great frame of mind for the closing bit, for the final, for the home straight. And it would have ticked away.
Mm.
So that's what I would do.
Yeah.
Enjoy it. Don't think, oh God, 10 miles.
Mm.
I've never run this far before. What's going to happen? And expect you're going to fall apart. You're going to cramp up. If you've done everything sensibly, like Chatilla said, if you've hydrated properly, if you've looked after your fueling over the last couple of days, the chances are is you're going to be very unlucky if you do actually experience any problems. So I know we always say enjoy it. You do have to enjoy it, but particularly enjoy mile 10 to 11.
Okay, interesting. You just remind me of something. Don't do what Speedgoat did and take Haribo for random people, because he got into proper trouble at London Landmarks with that. I know he has trouble anyway sometimes, bless him. But he's the first to say. I think he told us the story on here. He came proper undone at London Landmarks by taking people's stuff off of people. Yeah, I think they're all very interesting. Actually, I think there's a lot there. Getting out of your own way, panicking, worrying about, I'm only at 3 miles, I've got another 10 to do, and all that. That's all natural. What I would say is one thing I did when I was doing my first halves was I found people to follow. Now that sounds slightly alarming and stalkerish, but actually it made me focus on not running. I found people that were my kind of pace that I was running. Not I wouldn't talk to them, but I would be like, there was like, I don't know, 10 meters in front of me, and I would check that they were still in sight. And you know what I mean? It's like, it's trying to pick people out, and then maybe I would run up to them, maybe past them or whatever, and then I would then look for somebody else to find. And that kept my mind quiet of the doubt and the anxiety and everything else that we've spoken about. And that sort of kept me busy and active. So it's a little tip for anybody who's new, maybe going out in that first. Try and find people who are at your sort of pace that you find, because you do find that they're sort of the same distance in front of you, and you end up, as you finish, you're like, oh yeah, I ran behind you the whole way, and that sort of stuff. So that's one tip that I've always picked up, and it can really take your mind off stuff. And as always, with taking off your mind, start looking for things like, number of cars that look like Wilcos and
pet shops was one.
Yeah, and people wearing hats, or people in FORDY Runs tops and stuff like that. That's that sort of diversion. But that's definitely one or two things. I've got. I know Hayden's got some stuff to give us before we go out. I've got one question because it's really important. Because obviously I'm doing the 6 major T-shirt. Is there a T-shirt on Sunday?
I don't know. I thought so, but now I'm not too sure. I know that has been previous. I don't know if the cost of living crisis.
If there's no T-shirt, I'm just worried about Hackney Half and the rating they're going to get, because he's there, and I'm not anticipating. I don't want to spoil it for him, but obviously we know London Marathon, the London Marathon, got 7 out of 10. The man is hard to please. People at Hackney, right? You're going to love this. Somebody still commented on the video, where he tore up Hackney and got upset the whole of Cambridge with his and admin. They're still commenting, angry commenting on that video now. They still can't get over it. It's brilliant. So just be warned, if there's no T-shirts, if you're listening to this and you work for anybody at the Hackney Half or Limelight, you might want to run out and get him something from Primark for when he comes through.
Get him something for crying out loud. Yeah.
Otherwise, he's going to go to town on your rating. Just be warned. Right, so Hayden, what was it? Because you got some bit of stuff to take us out with, haven't you?
No, it's just obviously just following on from the massive success from the satellite clubs that are all up and down the country. We actually have 2 new ones starting up next week. Both of them actually on Monday. One of them's in Exeter, and the other one is in Sheffield. So if you are in and around the areas, you're visiting the areas, you want to do a bit of tourism to the satellites, and get in touch with us on the 40 Runs website, which is what, Wilco?
Wilco, what's the website?
40 Runs, fordyruns.com.
He's like you, Hayden. I'll have to edit out. Hayden,
well, I've been a bit out of practice.
Hayden, do that bit again and ask Chatilla instead.
Yeah.
But no, if you want a bit more information, then go to the website, have a look, or message one of us on the 40 Runs Facebook page and get yourself down there. The Sheffield one, it's looking like it's going to cover quite a big area, so it's going to be fantastic. We've got 2 people running that. And again, the Exeter one down on the riverside, lovely part of the world. It'd be great to get you involved. And also, if you are one of our virtual club runners on a Wednesday night, after next Wednesday, it'll be our last session, because the week after we are rebranding the complete virtual club. So we've got big news to come for that, and I'm sure you will be plugging that a little bit next Friday on the podcast. And
Am I on next Friday?
That is going to be really good.
Am I here next Friday?
Well,
Let's take one Friday at a time, right?
Yeah.
Just a quick note here from Football Shirts 4D. I think we know who this is. Remember your first Hackney, Chris, you ran with a real superstar. And yeah, big shout out to because in about 5 minutes we're going to be off to the 40 Runs Facebook quiz, trying to raise money for the team that are taking part in the Harp 24, which will be cracking on Facebook. It's a really difficult sports round. You won't get many of them. But yeah, so we're all looking forward to that.
Can anyone join that? Is it only people in the Facebook group?
I don't know.
Well, it's not so much a Facebook group. I think the problem you might be able to, if you go onto the Facebook group and go into the events section, there might be a bit there, but I'm pretty sure everyone's had the Zoom link and everything else. But there will be more events coming up. And if you are interested, you want to be involved.
Oh, tight. Hang on. Let's go back a step. Everybody's had the Zoom link.
No, yeah, the one ready. We have a Zoom quiz in 15 minutes time. So
No. I just go back a step. Everybody's had the Zoom link.
Everybody that requested it has had it. Yes.
I didn't know this existed.
Did you request it?
Rubbish. Absolute.
I've not been sent. To be honest with you, I can't do it anyway. I'm just pulling his leg. But how do people find it if they've not found it?
So it's been an event that's been well publicised over the past few months on the Facebook group, and we set up the Big 40 quiz because we used to have it before lockdown. And as you said, it's been a fight. It's a $5 to enter. We've got loads of prizes, and all the money goes to. There's a load of us running Hop 24 for a fantastic homeless charity, and all the proceeds from it are going direct to that. So really good cause. Yeah,
and actually, on a serious point, actually, I'm just pulling his leg because it is for a great charity, and the team are doing Harp 24. So if you are going for it, they're auctioning or raffling off a dry robe, and
correct.
There's loads of cool stuff. So hopefully, if you want to get involved, there's still an opportunity to get involved. But I just hope good luck everybody because it's for a great cause, and the guys are going to smash the life out of it at Harp 24. So hopefully everybody has a good time on that, and I think that's it. Is it? Have we covered everything?
I do want to say just one more thing in the comments there. Pickle Barrel Official has commented saying he's been standing this whole time.
Oh yeah, we forgot to turn it down. Oh, sugar. That's
what an absolute hero.
What? Oh yeah, I forgot about that, didn't we? So who told everyone to stand up?
You said everybody stand up if you love running, and he's been standing this whole time.
This is the problem when Admin's not here.
Brilliant.
That's brilliant. So you can sit down now. Oh, hang on, look. Hoka, it's a Hoka t-shirt. So I would recommend everybody size up because not being funny, but Hoka.
Well, some of us don't have the option, mate.
So make sure you size up. And Toby, there's absolutely no way you need a medium in this top. Okay. In fact, I'm going to deliberately. He probably won't be walking by the time he gets to the finish line because he hasn't done any running for 2 weeks, as we all discussed earlier. He's 100% going to need an XL. It's going to be brilliant. If you see Speed go out on course, say hello. Ask him how he's getting on.
It'll still be fine, which is annoying.
I'm bringing the camera just to film him.
Right then, are we done?
I think so. I can't really get myself into too much more trouble. I don't think.
Garlic pepper. No. Which sending us love from the Philippines.
Yeah, I was going to say, look at that. From the Philippines, guys.
Wow.
That is mental. From the Philippines. Firstly, what time is it then? Secondly, how on earth do they understand a word we've just said?
You especially.
Yeah, me especially. Yeah, exactly. Oh, Hayden, are we allowed to tell them about that thing we did the other day?
That's up to you. I don't see why not.
Are we going to get told off?
No.
When is it coming out?
June the 8th, 9th, that Friday night where Bladen.
We filmed a special, bit like Mastermind. I think.
No, not Mastermind. This is your life.
This is your life with me. It was a bit intense, to be honest with you. I was a bit nervous and a bit under pressure. Hayden put me under a lot of pressure, but we filmed it. We've recorded it. It's coming out the week we do the Bladen Races. We filmed it, and so it will come out on YouTube and it will come out as a podcast the same day. And it's would you say in-depth look? No,
insight into 40 runs.
Yeah, because we could have probably done another 6 hours of it with the grilling I was getting. I had like sweat patches and I had to change my pants and everything. It was murder. But that's coming out on when is it?
June the 8th, 9th?
June the 8th, 9th, something like that. So get ready for that one. That'd be a good one
Cool.
to find out a little bit more about 40 runs.
Right. Well, thanks everybody for their company this evening. I hope we've provided some value. I'm sure we have. Good luck to everybody who's got a race this week. And if you're plugging on with your training, keep going and look after your hydration if it's going to be a bit hot. Thanks very much to our sponsors, Skechers. Remember, please to go to skechers.co.uk. Check out all their great deals on gear and shoes and all sorts of stuff. Now we're here on Friday nights, every Friday night at 7 o'clock on YouTube and Facebook. But if you can't catch us live, then you can always download us on all the usual podcast providers, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, and so you can download us and take us out on your long run, and hopefully get everything done and you'll have a great time. We shall see you next week. If we don't see you at the Hackney Half, if we do, say hello, and we wish you all the best for the weekend. Stay safe, enjoy your running, and we'll see you next week.